Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty. One of the things too you mentioned, Leon, and you kind of touched upon it too, Tim, earlier, was that, this whole way of characterizing it as gun violence, and it's such a slippery slope because what we saw in London is that they literally started making it illegal to have knives.
Exactly.
And we didn't have that story up for today, but that was something that was actually occurring. Where the mayor of London had banned knives, and I think they were calling them assault knives. I think. and
I have some of those in my kitchen.
Yeah, me too.
Well, after what happened in Texas, I was getting a lot of media inquiries, and surprise, surprise, sometimes the media is biased. I know that. Stop the press. But there was one reporter in particular that was really trying to hammer me on the idea of banning ARs. And I finally said, look, we're always going to have criminals who are going to do criminal activity and hurt people that aren't criminals. We're always going to have mental health issues. But as long as civilians have the ability and the access to own the most effective self-defense tool ever made, a firearm, then the meek and the vulnerable will always have a fighting chance. Yes. And that's really what it's all about. There's just okay, fine. Chicago's violent, great. Go solve it. Figure out what you have to do with your drug policies, with your police policy, whatever. Figure it out. But in the meantime, make sure that everybody else can defend their life, So I don't push back on, hey, you guys want a violent city? Keep reelecting, the same people with the same policies. Great, have a violent city. But for those of us those people who live in a violent city or live anywhere near it, you got to be able to defend ourselves.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, you know what? I live in San Diego as well, and I don't consider San Diego a violent city. What do you have to say about that, Michael? Is San Diego a little more?
I think compared to Chicago, it's utopia. Yeah. Compared to Madison, LA. Wisconsin, it's violent. You know what I mean? So I think there are places in San Diego County that are definitely not real friendly. But the other thing is, and it's funny, people say that to me a lot. I'll ask me what I do for a living or whatever. We'll talk about CCWs, that sort of thing. And the response I get a lot is, I don't really live in a bad neighborhood, so I don't think I'm interested in a carry permit. Well, if you look at a lot of the places where especially these high profile, mass murders that have happened, there was one, we're in San Diego, there was a mass murder, a criminal with a gun in La Jolla, yes. A few years ago. Yes. So a lot of this stuff happens, criminals go to nice neighborhoods to steal their stuff. So I don't think it's a violent city. You're right, Tim. It's relatively safe. Depends on who you compare it to. But still, if you know what I mean, if you still will need to be able to defend yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Always.
And I'm not saying that's what you were suggesting, Tim, but it's the relativity of it it comes up a lot.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Always.